Will Pepperdine pick the...
All right. So this is actually the first thing they're hearing. Breakneck pace, because
Breakneck pace.
For propriety's sake, everyone know we will be watching the game at the 3-minute spectator delay, and there's also a 2-minute delay on this stream, as per CLOL rules. Anyway, that's why we're
getting into pick and ban. We've got a Leona, a Hecarim, and an Olaf ban on the side of Pepperdine Esports, and a Talon, a Lucian, and Ash ban on the side of UCLA. And the Samira comes through.
Interesting.
Yeah, I'm surprised that didn't see a ban. With her ability to shoot projectiles out of the air, that is going to really complicate team fights. And Nautilus to go alongside of it, that's expected. Some hard engage for UCLA. Nautilus into Rakan is a little skill matchup. Depending if they take the Xayah, then the Xayah Rakan lane has a fair amount of push pressure at the level 2. Let's see what they pick here. Ezreal, okay, they're really looking to play the lane safe. I believe the Samira can cancel the Ezreal, though I'll have to double check that. I would expect a mid lane pick here to avoid mid lane bans, given we've already seen a Lucian Talon ban, but no, it's okay, the Zac, that makes sense.
Yeah,
that coupled with Rakan gives you a lot of hard engage, a lot of team fight setup. And it'll give the Ezreal the ability to throw Qs out from a safe range while they've got a big front line.
Very true.
I wonder if we'll see a jungle pick here to match. Yep, okay. Most likely Lillia in the jungle, although it can go top lane. We have seen top lane Lillia. That would not be out of the question.
Have we seen top lane Lillia? The Yorick main inside me cries. So we'll have to see what they ban here. Their bans before are all things that we know Pepperdine plays well, including the Ornn. Right. The Talon is Santa Massey's go-to pick. The Lucian can be a 3-way flex. Ashe is just strong in general, as is Ornn in team play, not so much in solo queue.
Very much so. And I feel like the Ornn would have really made the Renekton ban. Okay, that's not surprising given the priority the UCLA has shown on Renekton. That leaves me thinking that we'll see an Urgot top lane, most likely. I'm curious to know what Pepperdine will pick into that, if we see it. The Urgot pairs pretty well with the Nautilus. They're two big frontline tanks. Okay, interesting. A Camille ban. So really wanting to make sure that there isn't a split push threat or the ability to lock down that Samira in team fights and not let her get her kiting and her in team fight mobility off. Okay, Galio ban. That's not altogether too surprising. There it is. There's the Urgot. Okay. Yep. I would foresee a Shen into this. Shen gives you the ability to cancel some auto attacks from the Urgot. It disrupts the Urgot. You can dodge the ultimate with the Shadow Dash.
Yeah, and we have seen Scott playing a lot of Shen recently. They might just be playing out the timer to give more time to talk about that mid lane pick before ultimately picking Shen. Oh,
interesting. A Mordekaiser. Okay. That frees you up for a AD mid lane pick, which wouldn't surprise me from Santo.
Might be the Kiana. Could we be seeing a Kiana today?
That might be. Interesting. No, we're going to see the Yasuo.
You know, they let it through. They didn't respect it. They don't respect the Yasuo.
So here's the real question: is what have they prepared? Will it be the Morgana? Will it be that Black Shield or the Diana for the Assassin 1v1? I'm curious. Nocturne. The spicy mid lane, or is it Lillia mid lane? Are they flexing? Is that?
Well, it's not pick till it's pick.
Okay, I'm really curious to see where we end up with this Nocturne. If they're going to go mid lane Nocturne, or if they feel like that Lillia can be a mid lane into the Yasuo.
Yeah, we'll have to see. It's going to
be mid lane Nocturne into Yasuo. Interesting. This is not a matchup I'm super familiar with. The Nocturne can spell shield the knockup, making the Yasuo's life much more difficult. But I am very curious to see how this plays out.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see, to say the least. And as a reminder for the chat, we will have to wait for a 3-minute spectator delay. So we will switch over so that you guys can see our lovely shining faces over here on the stream. So hello, hi, how are ya?
How's it going?
We can take this quick moment to introduce ourselves before getting into what we can expect from this game. So hi, my name is Grace, RamseyIsMey Ramsey, and I am the team manager for Pepperdine Esports and general league enthusiast, if, you know, nothing else. Definitely not a league player by any, you know, actual standard. But with me, I have my co-caster, who is...
I'm Kyle Coddiwomple Griffith. I'm an MBA student at Pepperdine. I am a little bit of a league player. I'm a support main, enjoy vision, enjoy the macro sense. Can't farm to save my life, so that's why I play support. Big fan of those hook champions. Like playing Nautilus. A lot of fun, hard engage. That's where I kind of find my groove.
Yeah, definitely. No. So they're not here for us, though.
I know, they're not. They're here for the game.
My camera's over here. I'm not supposed to look at you. What can we expect from this game? Like, what do you expect to see?
Yeah, so this game is going to center around the bot lane, I foresee. I mean, this Samira pick is really going to be interesting. I'm very curious to know if the Ezreal can match it. I haven't seen it played outside of ARAM games. I'm really excited to see what it can do. You know, it's the potential for it to pop off and be that crazy hyper carry is there, but it all depends on whether or not she can get in range to use her abilities and to stack that passive of her and get that S grade. So we'll see. If we have any, you know, the Mordekaiser can be a split pusher, can also be a great team fighter. You know, if the Mordekaiser can get in there and ult the Samira out of team fights and just duel her 1v1 and take her out, that might be a great way to counteract there's not a whole lot of damage on this comp from UCLA outside of the Samira, depending on the Nocturne. If Nocturne gets fed in the head, we're going to be in a world of trouble. Mm-hmm. But assuming that Nocturne doesn't get ahead and get rolling, that Samira is the primary focus. So either the Mordekaiser's got to ult the Nocturne out to keep the darkness from kind of just totally making team fights impossible to play, or get on the Samira, take her out of the fight, let Yasuo get his knockups, get some CC down. We'll see. It's going to be interesting. Team fights are going to be the name of the game. I mean, we're talking about dragons. We're talking about barons. There's a lot of big AoE. The Zac jump in, the Yasuo win walls, the Nautilus ult. It's going to be wild.
Yeah, it's going to be really interesting to see. I really worry about the Samira just because I know that she's not been available in scrim play until just recently, or not, excuse me, played in scrims at least. So it'll be interesting to see how it's handled. That might be why UCLA is pulling her out of their pocket, because they know that, you know, people haven't really had time to adjust to her yet. And just from what I've seen in my humble elo, you know, if she gets ahead, she's just a monster.
Oh, she'll take over the game.
Yeah.
I think Ezreal actually matches up reasonably well. Because of his Q and the low timer on that, he can really dish out skill shots, and the Samira cancel doesn't have the time to recoup. If you had something like a Caitlyn who wants to throw Pilt over Peacemakers, she's not going to have the same cooldowns as the Ezreal Q. So we'll see. Maybe the Ezreal can get in there and deal some damage with his Qs. But yeah, that Samira, I mean, this is a new pick. Hopefully Pepperdine has some playtime against it, because if not, it can run over games.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be a bit interesting. And we're loading into the game here now. Going to get the settings all good to go real quick before we get into it. And we're going to try out trusting a directed camera for this little bit of time to see how that goes. And see what's up. So we're going to transfer over and so we can get right into the game, which is what you guys are here for.
All right, let's see. Any level ones? That's the real question. Does UCLA or does Pepperdine have something prepped? It looks like UCLA is pinging into the red side jungle. We'll see. They're going down mid lane. Maybe they've got something planned.
Pepperdine is fanning out into what looks to be a 5-point. So we'll see. It looks like they spot out to the group. Lots of caution pings going out.
Probably just a deep ward on the red buff. See if they can get some early vision on the jungle pathing.
Makes sense, makes sense.
Yep. Zach does have some interesting paths because of his ability to leash multiple camps at the same time. He can start blue side with a relatively small leash and still have a pretty good clear. He does also have some of the most unique gank paths in the game, so it's going to be really interesting to see how he sets up gank paths from the different tri-bushes, from inside of UCLA's jungles. If he can get back into their tri-bush behind the bot lane and do his elastic slingshot into lane, that could be a great setup. So we will see. UCLA is really going to want to track this Zach through the jungle so that way he can't surprise them.
Definitely. And I should say that while it looks like they might be trying to go for some sort of late invade, Pepperdine did get the answering vision on their red buff, though.
Looks like they're just going for okay, yeah, they're just denying the Raptors.
Lillia stole the red buff with Smite.
Did she? Oh, she did. That is not good for Zach. That is going to put him way behind, and he lost his Raptors. Yeah, that's going to put the Zach very far behind. He's going to have to clear his bot side, get up to his blue side, hope his blue is still there. Now, Lillia might be able to just go straight to his blue and clear that. If she gets both of Zach's buffs, he's going to be in a world of hurt.
Very much so.
It looks like they are, in fact, invading onto that blue buff. Yep. So Zach's going to have to do a counter invade and split the map and hope he can get into the blue buff of UCLA. Otherwise, he's going to be super far down in experience.
Very, very aggressive jungling coming out of UCLA.
Yeah, very much so. Really taking control of that early jungle, really limiting the Zach's ability to be effective in the early game with his unique pathing and gank abilities.
I know we have some people in the chat tonight who are not as familiar with League of Legends. The jungle is that space of little monsters that are between these main lanes that people are in with the towers.
And you will notice that the area on the mini-map in the bottom right is darker in those areas where there's not vision. That indicates there's fog of war, and the teams can't see in those areas. So ganking is providing pressure from those dark areas and trying to get into the lanes and influence them. We see now that the Zach has in fact gone into UCLA's blue side and gotten a blue buff for himself, so he won't be as starved, but he is going to get 3 buffed, unfortunately.
Oh, we've already got the Santo fans in the chat, chatting it up. Nick Santo Massey is our mid laner, and Zach looks like he's in a little bit of trouble, but
he's going to get a scuttle crab denied from him. The bot lane had the pressure and the priority, so they were able to roam up and apply pressure and force Zach off of that.
Scott's playing really safe here in the top lane, pre-6, which makes sense for Mordekaiser.
He's down about a wave, but he can clean up this wave, and he should be even on farm.
Yeah, he is.
In the mid lane, Santo seems to be freezing near his tower, and he has the advantage. That's the price that the UCLA paid to have their Nocturne roam down to secure that Scuttle Crab, is that Santo is able to get some lane pressure and get a CS advantage. There's the spell shield, and he didn't block but the Q misses.
Yeah. The problem is, though, you can see that CS difference on the jungler, on that Zach. He is down 11 to Lillia's 34. It's clear UCLA has identified a strong point at Pepperdine and decided to really try to cut it off before it can even get going.
Absolutely. That's great analysis and something to be worried about. I mean, fortunately, Zach, he just needs 1 or 2 tanky items and he can just be a big frontliner. So if he can get a couple camps under his belt, get some items, he'll still have relevancy in the team fight, but he won't be that unkillable blob just kind of hopping around on UCLA's backline.
I see there's also some love in the chat for Caster Kyle. Don't you mean Coddiwomple? Show some respect.
So we are 5 minutes in. We've got a Mountain Drake up. I would expect UCLA to back here and then start to provide some vision in that dragon area and look to get an early dragon. They've got the pressure in the bot lane. They've got the jungle advantage. Their buffs are down, so that dragon should be the next priority for them. We'll see if they go about getting vision. It looks like they're paying into the red side jungle to get vision there, so that would be what I would expect to see in the next few minutes.
Yeah. And we may not have any kills, but for a second there, Pepperdine was down 1,000 gold off of just the superior CSing and jungling alone.
Yeah, it cannot be understated how far behind this Zac is, unfortunately.
He needs to make up the difference with prioritizing his laners, because he's not going to probably be the carry this game. He needs to get others ahead.
Yep,
Zac
I would agree
completely.
completely.
An enabler, though, anyway. He can be a playmaker, but it's a playmaker for others. But he is level 4 to Lillia is level 6 right now.
And that Nocturne just hit level 6, so we've got a key Nocturne ultimate probably coming out here. Everyone knows that first Nocturne ultimate sets the tempo for the game. If you get a good Nocturne ult, get a kill, and you snowball that Nocturne, he can take over the game. It looks like Lillia is soloing that dragon. Zac is unfortunately not in a place to contest, and the first dragon will go over to UCLA. We've got a Ocean Dragon coming up next, which means we'll either get Infernal Soul or Wind Soul. Cloud, excuse me, thank you, Cloud Soul.
Yeah, and that makes sense for Pepperdine to give over this dragon. They're definitely not strong enough for that team fight right now, and you know they stand to lose far more than they stand to gain by giving over that first Mountain Soul. It's not, or first Mountain Dragon. That's not worth the risk.
Absolutely, absolutely. Get this Zac some farm, get some items on your carries, and then maybe contest even the third dragon. Really, that second dragon, you don't want to give over the Ocean. The Ocean's really going to help that Samira get some health back in team fights, but it's better than taking a bad team fight and really putting yourself behind. If they get that second dragon and Pepperdine loses a team fight over it, we've got a little engage here in the bot lane.
Nothing much comes of it.
Yeah, it's a good trade for the Rakan, though. He gets a good knock-up on the Samira, forces out some skills, and lets the Ezreal poke. Let's see if Pepperdine can get a little bit of lane control back for that. The Zac is down here, and they're letting it push. There's a potential for a gank. Zac doesn't have ult yet. He is still level 4.
No one in the bot lane has ult yet, so far. It's probably coming up here very soon. Probably seeing if the Samira pushes up with the...
Yep, there it is. This should be first blood. Ignite down on the Samira, and there it is. Well done.
Heal down from the Samira as well.
Really well timed to get in before the Samira hits level 6, and the Nautilus doesn't have the peel with his ultimate. Very well timed gank from the Zac.
Crucially, Ezreal got that kill. Someone might think it'd be better to give the kill to the person who is further behind, but in reality, Zac's never going to really recover from that start, so he needs to get that gold where it really counts, which is his potential carries. The Ezreal, the Yasuo, and the Mordekaiser are kind of the hope for this team now, and it's just up to Zac and Rakan to try to set them up the best that they can.
And if that kill gets the Ezreal, yep, it does. It gets him to his Mana Mune, which is a huge item for the Ezreal. So getting him on that, getting him boots off the kill will really help to set him up to be proactive in that lane. Top lane's kind of on an island here. We see that the Urgot is up about 15 CS. Not too surprising. He's got a little bit of a range advantage in the matchup. Neither has used teleport, so the next big team fight will have both teleports up.
Sorry, stream. I whipped my camera across the screen, so it's trying not to die. I don't have COVID, I swear. I only need to cough in public. That's when it happens.
Alright, looks like we're going to see a little bit of a skirmish over this red buff, potentially. The Lillia is level 8 to the Zac level 5. Oh, and look at that. Just 2 abilities and half health. Yikes, here we go.
Maybe is this going to go maybe for this power dive. The Ezreal does E out. He's the only one ulted.
Zac forced a flash. If that's all they burn... okay. Mordekaiser teleporting in. Here comes the fight. Zac passive popped.
Lillia can get that Zac passive off well. Okay.
Wow.
Wow.
Well
the Lillia does get the Zac, and I think she'll get out, but will the Mordekaiser be able to kill the...
Yep, triple kill for the Ezreal. Woo. I cannot stress enough how important that kill onto the Ezreal in the bot lane to get him that Merman and get him back into lane. It's such an amazing Rakan ult into knock up on 3 people to give the Ezreal time, and the Yasuo ult setup. That was fantastic for Pepperdine in the bot side. Now, it does mean that the Urgot's going to get a couple plates up here in the top lane. He looks 2 plates from it, doesn't burn the teleport, so they do have TP advantage. Dragon's coming up in about a minute, so we should see that go over to UCLA. Even though the kill lead is in favor of Pepperdine, the global advantage is there for UCLA. And the Lillia will outsmite the Zac probably for the rest of the game.
Yeah. Indeed. So definitely those objectives are going to be a problem for Pepperdine. And honestly, the objectives, if played right, are what wins you the game, not the individual kills. So we'll have to see. You can see just sort of dominant vision control in this bot side river for UCLA. So many pink wards are out there.
Yeah, if that pink ward behind the Dragon Pit isn't cleared and they get a good TP flank out of the Urgot, there could be a lot of damage dealt in this team fight by the Urgot.
Yeah, he currently has TP advantage over the Mordekaiser as well. Mord cannot answer. Yep. Scott is kind of stuck on his top lane island should Urgot decide to go and help out the rest of the UCLA team.
It will be really important for the Mordekaiser to keep the Urgot within range of his pullback in order to stop that teleport. He doesn't have ult up, so he can't ult him out of the teleport yet. Looks like UCLA starts up the dragon, and Pepperdine just concedes the dragon. I think that's the smart decision. They don't really have the ability to contest. They don't have the visit control. And we get an Infernal Drake. That, if UCLA gets an Infernal Soul on the Samira, they're going to be able to steamroll this game. Rift Herald using the bot lane, it'll get a couple plates. It will not get those last plates that have the increased armor. Oh, we got a 1v1 in the top side. Uh-oh. Yes. And the Urgot is gonna crunch the Mordekaiser.
Yeah, definitely. The Mordekaiser had fallen behind a little bit in CS, even though he went and he got those assists by helping out his team, and the Urgot just played that a bit better, getting the stun off and everything, despite the Mordekaiser ulti. I wouldn't have ulted if I was that Mordekaiser. I mean, of course, I'm like silver, so what do I know? But
no, there's something to be said for saving the Mordekaiser ult to try to cancel an Urgot TP later in a fight. Hard to say.
Especially since he has that TP advantage still.
Yep. It looks like the Urgot's going to get the tower here. Especially with Lillia hovering and taking... This is now the 3rd blue buff that Lillia has taken from Zac, just further compounding that 40, 50 CS lead, 60 CS lead in the jungle.
Yeah,
that's brutal.
For stream, that CS lead is not what you want to see. And it looks like first tower is about to go down up top.
Yep, that Urgot is
gets that
really...
first turret.
He's gonna back. I wonder if he'll go...
Yeah, the Lillia is there. Scott obviously does not know that the Lillia is there. Oh, the Urgot put Scott behind, and so the Lillia misses her W, but it doesn't matter. The CC is there from the Urgot.
Well, Nocturne throw down. It looks like just to deny vision on the Yasuo and keep the Lillia safe. Interesting usage. Not sure that's worth it. Oh, we got a TP in the bot lane. Dive coming in, the Urgot's teleporting. Uh-oh. Super close. Is the Ezreal
is he gonna get the shutdown on the Ezreal? No!
Oh. Yikes, this is one scary Urgot, folks.
Yeah, he was kind of on his island in that early game, but will Yasuo get the gold back?
Yasuo get the counter shutdown? There we go.
Oh.
Now can Pepperdine just get out? Yep, and they're out. Although there's a trade of the mid lane tower for that bot lane dive. So let's take stock. We hit Urgot ult bot lane, Urgot flash bot lane, Urgot gets a shutdown on Ezreal, Nocturne gets the mid lane, and Yasuo gets a shutdown back onto the Urgot. And at the end of the day, UCLA is up 4k gold and 2 dragons with 2 towers to Pepperdine's 0. So there's quite a bit of standing gold on the side of Pepperdine. If they can knock down 1 or 2 objectives, they will get an influx of gold. However, that is going to be difficult with another Rift Herald going over to UCLA. They're just going to have all the pressure in the world here. We've got a little bit of a lull state here. Nothing happening. All the objectives are down. Is the Nautilus caught out in the river? Picking a Nautilus isn't easy. He flashes away. Okay. Don't be fooled trying to pick the Nautilus in the river. He's got a flash, he's got a hook, and he's a tanky boy.
Very, very true.
Urgot continues to punish
two
Mordekaiser.
levels up on the Mordekaiser.
He can just chase him down. He probably won't get the kill, but he can force him off the wave, let it continue to push. Lillia gets her 6th blue buff of the game, I believe. Maybe 5th. And continues
and
to
look at that gold difference. Nearly 4,000 gold up UCLA over Pepperdine. They may be even in kills, but those extra towers, the extra CS, it's all adding up.
Yasuo gets ult on Samira, and the Zac gets her with the smite.
Are they? They're still going on to the. Pepperdine wants out.
Yeah, they're not gonna win this fight. That Mordekaiser ulted the Lillia, got her out of the fight, but it didn't really do much.
Yeah.
And the Nocturne ult just denied all the vision, and unfortunately UCLA is just 5k up with 2 dragons, and Pepperdine takes a 3v4, and they don't come out on top. Now they are hanging around to see if they can contest this dragon. This would be kind of a miracle steal from Zac, given that he's 3 levels down on the Lillia, so his smite's going to deal considerably less damage. This is where it gets tricky. If they don't contest this dragon, then every dragon moving forward they have to contest. Otherwise, that Infernal Soul on that Samira is just going to run over the game.
Yeah.
If they do contest it and they lose a fight, they're in even worse of a spot. So it looks like they're just going to give it up.
Honestly, what is Pepperdine's win condition at this point? Like, obviously, you don't want to let UCLA get that Infernal Soul. That's probably, you know, their win condition. But what does Pepperdine need to do to actually pull this one back?
Oh, you know, it's going to be a big Zac knock-up into a big Rakan knock-up into a 5-man Yasuo. It's going to have to be Santo Massey with a beautiful ult, you know, knocking up and CCing a number of players. If you can get the Nocturne and the Samira in a Yasuo and take those 2 out, you're left with... But even still, the Urgot and the Lillia, they're so far ahead. They've got so much damage, and they're kind of tanky. You know, it's a pick onto the right person and a Baron maybe, but UCLA is really kind of just 1 dragon short of wrapping this game up.
Yeah, it's going to be really tough for Pepperdine to pull it back. They've done it before, but we'll have to see if this is one of those games.
Interesting ult usage on the Nautilus just to buy some time for the Mordekaiser. And a Nocturne ult, interesting.
That's a lot
That's
of resources given over to killing Mordekaiser. It seemed like his death was pretty certain there.
Yeah, I think perhaps if the Baron was up and they could go straight to the Baron, I would agree with that, but I don't think that's the best allocation of that Nocturne ult. It's got quite a steep cooldown, even at with 2 points in it.
Interesting.
Pepperdine does get their first tower in the bot lane. That's a little bit of gold back to them. So looking at the items here, we've got a Proto Belt and Bramble Vest on the Mordekaiser to a Death Stance and a Black Cleaver Bramble Vest from the Urgot. That Urgot is going to be an unkillable shotgun machine in team fights. He's just going to be, if he gets in the middle of Pepperdine's team, he's just going to output so much damage with those shotgun kneecaps.
I've been told that we should not be afraid to get hyped on the plays. I think that's a very polite way of saying get hyped on the plays. We'll work on it. This is our first time ever casting together in a league game. First time I think casting in general for one of us, so.
Yeah, I'll jump out of my chair at some point, don't worry.
I'll get excited. If we win, I'll throw the computer and end the stream.
So we're back in this kind of you know, just pushing lanes, trying to create vision. You can see in the top side, the blue side jungle for Pepperdine, there's a ton of red vision. You know, the Mordekaiser just can't push up safely. He's got no real vision control behind him. He's got one ward in that little bush. And if he gets caught out again, I mean, the Baron's up. And with Yasuo on the bot side, a pick in the top area, I mean, it's kind of just a free Baron.
Yeah, that gold difference is just looming over the heads of Pepperdine. That's nearly 6,000 gold.
Yeah, it's unfortunate.
I think it's just UCLA made the right play. They identified Windchill 400 as kind of the main point of contention on Pepperdine's team, and they just did everything that they needed to do to shut him out of the game.
Yeah, it's very reminiscent of the recent Cloud9 fall from grace, where they had their jungler shut down, and if you take away that power point on the map,
Mordekaiser is caught out again.
Although he portabouts in.
And
interesting.
It looks like Pepperdine is not committing to this fight. Rakan's coming in a bit late after the Mord has died. Now they're running. I think that's one that they maybe could have committed to, but now they are going to have to. Oh, the Yasuo gets...
Yasuo in the back. There we go. That might be it.
Yasuo gets a shut down on the Lillia. Will he...
Israel's still throwing out Qs. And what a team fight, down 4v5 in the 3-man Yasuo. I said if they were going to get back in this game, it had to be a Rakan knockup into a Yasuo on the carries, and they got both the Nocturne and the Samira with that Yasuo. Now, the question is, what can they get? The Dragon's not up yet, Baron is up, but without the jungler, they don't have a smite secure, so it looks like they're just going to push lanes and reset. But that is quite a bit of gold going back over and shutdown kills. And the Ezreal's now 6-1. He's got his Mana Mune transformed. He's got a Frozen Fist. If he can finish, it looks like he's building towards a Death Dance. If he can finish that Death Dance, maybe the Lillia really won't deal that much damage to him. Maybe he can just poke with Qs, and maybe there's a route back into this game. Looks like Urgot's TPing mid lane. Interesting. I would have thought he would TP to that ward. They want to get
this dragon desperately. And man, sorry it sounded like I was buffering that fight. My hands were to my head and I was losing my mind.
Uh-oh.
Oh.
Or Urgot on the flank. Now, Pepperdine is forced to come to this fight. UCLA doesn't have to start the dragon. They can just continue to threaten it. They can put the Nocturne with ultimate in the mid lane and just let him push by threatening the dragon. And if that Nocturne gets to ult onto the Ezreal on the back line, here comes the fight.
Oh, and another Yasuo ulti.
There's the Nocturne. He kills the Ezreal, and that might just be it for UCLA.
Yeah.
Like I said, if that Nocturne gets the ult in behind... Oh, no, the Samira's down. That's one of the carries. But unfortunately, that Lillia just does so much damage.
Yeah, Urgot is still full up on health.
It looks like it's going to be...
can do to get away.
Yeah. Looks like Infernal Soul will go over to UCLA. It looked like it might be good at the start, but the Yasuo only hit the Samira and the Nautilus. And that Nocturne got to ult right in on the Ezreal.
Happened there? With the Rakan and the Zac with the Urgot right there?
Yeah. Yeah, unfortunately, you know, the UCLA just kind of corralled Pepperdine into that choke point right there above the Dragon Pit, and the Nocturne in the mid lane gets to ult right in behind the Ezreal, forcing the Ezreal to into the team fight, putting him in range for the sleep from Lillia and the damage from the Samira.
Mm-hmm.
Really good team fight setup from UCLA.
Very much so.
It looks like the focus is going to be here on a Baron as UCLA picks up a Scuttle Crab.
Lots of suggestions coming out from the chat, one of which is Pepperdine can just get vision, man. Yeah,
just get vision, just place wards. Easy game, easy life. We see the
Mordekaiser gets caught out here by the Nocturne.
Uh-oh. Can he turn it around? No, so close.
It is rather close.
And they start up the Baron. Yeah, without that TP into the Baron fight, I don't think there's any way for Pepperdine to contest this.
I think Pepperdine has shown that they can take these team fights, but definitely with a man down, they're gotta be hesitant. But they do not want to give UCLA this Baron.
Oh, there's a big Rakan ult on the 3. Where's the knock-up?
Oh.
The Samira's almost dead. Can they finish her off?
Rakan goes back in. Oh, the flash comes out from Windchill to help finish off Samira.
It's a 2 for 2.
But they do, I think, stop the Baron. But we'll have to see if they get away from the
crucial piece. Looks like they're gonna get away.
Yep, they get out.
Blue buff goes over to UCLA. That's the consolation prize. Hey, a trade for Pepperdine is a worthwhile outcome. They get kill shutdown on the Samira. They stop the Baron. You know, really now it's that 500 bounty on the Urgot. If they can get the Urgot out and jump on the back line, maybe there's a chance.
Yeah, but Urgot's kind of in raid boss mode. Let's see, what kind of anti-healing does Pepperdine have on their team right now? Lots of Bramble Vests on the Mordekaiser and the Zac right now.
That is good. I mean, the Urgot is in the front line. He is auto-attacking. He's going to be proccing those Bramble Vests. He does not have TP up, so Pepperdine does have a TP advantage for the next 30 seconds or so. I don't know that unless they want to try to force a Baron, there's not a whole lot they'll be able to do with it, unfortunately.
I'd be really nervous if that is that Rakan clearing vision right now. Okay, he gets out. I just saw three people on the mini-map looming.
Urgot is closing in on a flame horizon here. That is terrifying.
Oof.
I think Pepperdine's gonna have to find an answer to that Urgot in the next game if they wanna, you know, shut him down. The Mordekaiser it's a great team fighter, but in the 1v1 it doesn't quite match the Urgot and it gets pushed in early. I think that might be a draft adaptation they're gonna have to figure out moving forwards.
Yeah, and honestly, the main weakness of drafting a Lillia is that she doesn't really come online until she has farmed up a bit and she's level 6. But this game, UCLA just said, well, we'll take our jungle, your jungle, everyone's jungle, and then Lillia will be level 6 and we'll be fine. So
sure, if you've got a Lillia at level 8 at 7 minutes in the game, she's gonna take over the game.
And they just went around with Lillia to facilitate that. So Pepperdine's going to have to figure out a way to address that kind of early game, get our jungler ahead. And I wouldn't be surprised if we see a little bit of a shift in what they ban in the next game.
I would agree completely. I doubt they'll ban the Lillia, but I certainly think they'll put more priority on early vision. Uh-oh. And now the Urgot has a Guardian Angel. He's just never gonna die. There's just no way for this Urgot to go down, short of getting picked out by himself.
One might say he's a legend, because legends never die. These jokes. Not even a joke.
Alright, this tower's gonna go down. That's the last standing outer tower for the side of Pepperdine. Then now they're gonna start up the Baron. There is vision. The Nocturne is there. Urgot
they
has
know
TP
that the
back
Urgot
up.
and the Lillia are bot side from the play that was made onto the Mordekaiser.
This
And now
Urgot
is just
flashing forward in the base, gonna get the solo
disrespect.
kill. Oh, the Baron
Pepperdine
will
is going to
go
get the
over.
Baron, but is it going to be worth it in the end? Because now the Lillia is
win
there.
the fight afterwards. Uh-oh. The Ezreal gets out. Will he just back and hold one Baron buff? It looks like he will.
Yeah,
Zac
that was...
Nocturne flashes over, and can he get the kill?
Oh, Ezreal.
Oh, Ezreal get out. Now he's got he's got a back with the empowered Baron recall.
Yeah, he'll get out.
He will get away. It looks like overall it is a win for UCLA, although they gave up a couple flashes, a Baron, and 2 kills in exchange for 4 kills and the Baron going over to Pepperdine. So, you know, if they get an inhibitor here, which it looks like they will, I'm still going to say it's a win for UCLA. That Ezreal, he's the... Ezreal and Yasuo are the hope for Pepperdine, but the Ezreal's still level 14. That Urgot closing in on level 18. I mean, I just don't see a way in which the Ezreal can shred through the Urgot. And we've seen the QSS tax paid by both the Yasuo and the Ezreal for those Lillia ults.
Yeah. I think
Elder
something...
Dragon?
True. Something that I think is very important to note about Pepperdine is that they've never really been an early game team. Their strength has always been the late game, but when you shut them down that hard in the early game, it really seems like all they can do is, you know, bleed out from there. But they have been, you know, significantly sticking with it throughout this game, which I think, you know, shows that they have not given up yet. So we shouldn't either.
Yeah, I agree. They've won a number of good team fights. I think it really does come down to that team fight execution. Can they get key knockups into Yasuo ults on the carries from UCLA? My concern, though, is even if the Yasuo gets a double knockup on... Oh, here we go. Lillia ult, Rakan jumps in the backline. He's on the Samira. The Ezreal is getting 1v1.
Takes down Lillia.
Uh-oh.
Urgot takes down the
Santa
Yasuo.
goes down to the Urgot ult, and it's just falling apart here for Pepperdine. And this is the games, folks. The Samira just double kills, and I think we're going to see a push for the win here from UCLA.
That might be GG.
Unfortunately, that Nocturne is now the last 3 team fights in a row has been able to ult into the backline onto the Ezreal, forcing the Ezreal to arcane shift into the team fight, and just puts him in such a bad spot. The Urgot gets to jump on top of him and knock him up, and even with a great Yasuo, it's just not enough. And game 1 goes over to UCLA.
Yeah, I jinxed it. It's the caster curse. I'm so sorry, Pepperdine. I said that, you know, we weren't going to give up on you, and then, you know, what happens, you know? This is what happens. So switching back over to the caster view while I get us ready to get into the next game. Kyle, why don't you break down what happened for the lovely people who were invested in that game?
Yeah, so we saw a really good priority on counter jungling from UCLA. Starting at level 1, they got in, they got down vision, they took the Raptors, and then smited away the red buff from Zach, and that just put Zach so far behind. He had to flash over the wall towards his Krugs just to get away. All of a sudden, the Lillia is up 10 CS and just snowballs from there. And repeatedly, I don't think Zach got a single blue buff that entire game. I think Lillia was on, 7 blue buffs by the end? 3 from Pepperdine's side and 4 from our own jungle, and you just can't come back from that, especially when 100 CS up on the Urgot. You know, there were great moments for Pepperdine, a couple great team fights. We saw the Rakan ult into the knockup, into the Yasuo ult, shut down the Samira, shut down the Nocturne. But you've got this unkillable raid boss in the Urgot just sitting in the front line, and with that death stance and the Black Cleaver, he's just shredding armor, and he's dealing he's getting that health back from the death stance. He's just unkillable.
Mm-hmm.
So, and the great vision by UCLA in the red side jungle for Pepperdine, getting a priority on dragons. They got an early dragon. They got a second early dragon. Pepperdine thought about contesting that third dragon, but eventually got poked out. And all of a sudden, you're on 3 dragons at 25 minutes, and you have to contest every dragon moving forward, or they get the soul. And Pepperdine just wasn't able to. Unfortunately, Pepperdine's wins in team fights never came before an objective. They were always in those awkward windows where neither objective was up, or when the Baron was up and they got a team fight win, they only had 2 people left alive, and they just weren't in a health position to take the Baron. So I think moving forward, Pepperdine's really going to need to find a way to secure jungle vision for their side. They can't let UCLA get into their jungle and deny them that much experience in gold. It just put them so far behind.
Yeah, especially when they are denying that gold from Windchill, who is, you know, really a standout player on the Pepperdine roster. You know, he's definitely not the person that you want to get shut down.
Yeah, when you have someone that's got such great team fight potential and disruption potential like that, Zach, you need him to be able to get in the backline and cause disruption and tank enough damage that the Ezreal gets to throw out those Qs, gets to ult, gets to get down his DPS. And if the Zach just melts early, then you don't have that. And Urgot just gets to, you know, deny the Ezreal positioning, deny the Yasuo positioning. It's just unfortunate. Moving forward, I would expect to see draft adaptations, but particularly vision adaptations at level 1. I don't know what Pepperdine can do short of banning the Lillia, but if you ban the Lillia, you're giving up one of your initial bans. We've seen maybe the Leona ban, maybe you give that up. The Nautilus Leona, they do relatively the same things. The Leona has a little bit more lockdown AoE, a little less single target lockdown, but they're relatively interchangeable. Maybe you give up the Leona ban and you ban that Lillia. I just don't know if that solves the problem, though. There are you take the Graves and you get into the jungle early and you start denying those farm. There's ways in which you can do the same thing. It just starts with that vision at level 1. So we'll see. We'll see what adaptations Pepperdine has moving forwards. We'll see if they bring in some new strategy or change their level 1. Hopefully they can do something to combat UCLA's dominant performance.
Yeah, definitely. And apologize for being quiet. I'm currently trying to get us, into the lobby, get us ready to be into the next game, and dealing with a couple of minor technical difficulties that are, probably a factor of me running this on my laptop. But we're doing the best that we can.
Yeah, unfortunately, we don't have quite the same budget and setup that Riot does.
Yeah, I mean, it would be much better if we were in the Genesis lab on campus, because we have very, very nice PCs, multiple screens and all that we can use. But, we're doing our best during this this lovely time of COVID. So, we are almost ready to get into the next game here. Everybody is in the lobby chilling out. I haven't seen the R's yet, so we'll be in here for just a second. So, what do you expect to see in terms of bans this round? You said you did not think that the Lillia would be banned this time around.
Yeah, I don't know that it gains Pepperdine much. I mean, like I said, you can drop the Leona ban and ban the Lillia if you really feel like the Lillia shut down the Zac early. But again, there are other junglers who can fill that same role. You can't give up the Olaf ban. The Olaf will run over you harder than the Lillia did in terms of the early game jungling. He's got one of the strongest clears. If you drop the Leona ban, that's fine. They can pick Leona. They can pick Nautilus. If they take the Leona, there are counters to it. You can play the Thresh into it. It's not the end of the world. The Nocturne mid lane is spicy if they want to deal with the Nocturne. It felt impactful at times. It also felt like it did nothing at times. We saw a number of ults that kind of just denied vision and didn't do much. I think perhaps you can leave the Nocturne and just be kind of more cognizant of where the Nocturne is leading into team fights and not letting the Nocturne ult into the backline. So we'll see. Unfortunately, I don't know how much draft adaptation we're going to get out of Pepperdine. Here we go.
Yeah, we are hopping in now into the...
We have switched sides now.
Yeah, we are red side. The Talon ban comes out as expected. UCLA not changing anything thus far.
I'm guessing first ban here is going to be the Olaf ban for Pepperdine. That would be my estimation. Or a Hecarim ban. Both Olaf and Hecarim very strong in the jungle, very much played by UCLA Straws. The Urgot ban. Okay, so Pepperdine saying flat out we could not deal with the Urgot. Play something else. Lucian ban. Lucian can be triple flexed, mid, top, or AD, so that's just an all-around good ban. Here's the question. Are we going to focus again 2 jungle bans, or will we take something away from the mid lane? What's Pepperdine's adaptation?
We'll have to see. I'm curious if they let the Olaf go through. They're banning the Ashe this time.
The Ashe. I would imagine if the Olaf goes through, it's a insta-lock from UCLA. Will Pepperdine ban Samira as their third ban? I don't think so. The Samira really didn't take over the game. The Ezreal and the Rakan were able to shut it down, so I would expect that to say. And interesting, an Olaf ban from the side of UCLA. That tells me they have something that is top priority for them, and they're not willing to let the Olaf through to a red side 1-2 pick from Pepperdine. Very interesting.
Do you think this is for the Lillia? Well, Lillia is banned now,
wow. So it's the Hecarim. So the Hecarim is the...
Okay.
I would have expected a Hecarim ban there instead of a Lillia, but now we see a Hecarim. I would expect a Shen pick here. You got to deny the Shen Hecarim combo. If you get a Hecarim charging in there with his ult and a Shen ulting on top of him. Man, that's a nasty combo.
Do you think that they will be as aggressive with the early game jungle with the Hecarim, or does it really depend on what the rest of the lineup is? I see that we lock in the Ornn just to be safe, it seems. It's kind of Scott's go-to comfort pick. It's not the Shen you were expecting.
No, but it still provides you a fair bit of team fight. CC, it's not as strong in lane. Okay, the Rakan pick again. I like that. Rakan, great with the Yasuo if Pepperdine wants to go for the Yasuo.
I would expect that they lock in the Yasuo third pick here if they want it. Otherwise, it
if not, it's getting banned for sure. There's the Leona. Yep, not surprising. Pairs great with the Hecarim. With the fear off the Hecarim ult, it makes... Oh, no? A Volibear. Top lane. This is... I guess... Nope, Caitlyn. Okay. All right, that makes some sense.
Yeah.
Fair bit of safety.
I would not expect to see... a Volibear top lane. Though you looked at their OPs, does their top laner play it?
I don't think their top laners put much time in on Volibear. He really has put a lot of priority on that Urgot. Braum. So this is a counter pick into the Ornn. You can throw up the Braum shield. It stops the Ornn ult, and it stops an Ezreal ult. So it's if Pepperdine wants to go back to the Ezreal or Rakan, they've got another thing that's stopping that combo. I would not expect Ezreal here. There's the Yasuo to keep it from getting banned, okay?
It would have gotten banned out if they hadn't locked it in.
Absolutely.
So that was good of Pepperdine if they wanted to play it.
So we do have mismatched roles here. We've got no top laner on the side of UCLA and no AD on the side of Pepperdine. Okay.
Ban the Galio again.
I think this is a great ban from Pepperdine. I think taking away the Galio so they can't Hecarim ult with Galio ult on top of it for a big knock-up. I think that's very smart. I'm curious to know why the Graves is banned away.
I mean, Windchill plays it. Windchill plays basically most junglers, so maybe they didn't like his recent solo queue performance with Graves. I don't know.
And there's the Nocturnal. Okay. Well, if you're going for a big team fight comp, we've got the Ornn, you've got the Rakan, you've got the Yasuo, you don't want that division denied. If the Yasuo can't press R when everyone's knocked up because of the Nocturnal, it makes sense. All right, what's the last ban here? I would expect an AD ban, likely.
They might just try to shut down Windchill again.
Or, take the Zac away, maybe? There's the Zac. Okay, yep, good call.
Yeah, it seems like Windchill is their top priority of people that they want to make absolutely have no fun today. So
we see 3 jungle bans thrown at him. Here's the question. Do they save Windchill's pick for last? They do have counter pick, but we already see the Hecarim, so they can pick their jungler here knowing the matchup.
Well, we have 5 seconds till we'll see, so speculation.
Wow, and we got a Karthus out of the jungle. Interesting.
I don't know if my face shows it, but I haven't seen any Karthus recently.
This is Windchill going into his bag deep, trying to pull out something spicy.
Or this is Windchill saying, "You killed me so much last game, I'm gonna make it not even matter anymore." And then the Diana comes out. This is not a favorite matchup of Santos. We'll have to see how that plays out with the Yasuo.
And again, we're talking about team fight pile up. That Hecarim ult with the Diana ult on top of it. If we get a Shen here, ooh boy, UCLA is going to team fight like some madmen. What's the last pit going to be? Tom Kench in the top lane. Or
it could be Braum top. Like, don't judge. No.
So I know that some people have experimented with jungle Kench. I don't think it's very good. We have seen top lane Hecarim, so still.
I mean, but we've seen top lane Tom too. We'll have to see where all of the switches go around.
Ooh, I don't know. I love this Kaisa pick.
Kaisa into Caitlyn?
Yeah, Caitlyn's gonna shove hard and early. Kaisa is not going to be able to get away from the Diana and the Hecarim. She has her stealth speed up, but she doesn't have mobility outside of the ult. So unless she's ulting onto somebody in the backline, she's going to be very vulnerable. Now, Rakan has a fair bit of peel, so Rakan this game might not be as focused on diving the backline and more focused on providing peel for the Kaisa.
But if he's not diving the backline, who's setting up the Yasuo?
Right, and so that means the Ornn has to set up the Yasuo, but with that Braum ult to block the Ornn ult, Pepperdine's going to have a hard time executing on these team fights.
Not even Braum ult, Braum E.
Braum E, thank you. Braum E, yeah, the unbreakable. Now, that being said, Karthus is okay with a team that wants to run at Karthus. Karthus is fine dying in a big team fight in the middle of the team and just throwing out his Skittles and pressing R. So, if we can get UCLA low, if they can whittle down those health bars, if the Karthus can be, if he can get ahead, if he can get some farm under his belt and be a big team fight threat where he can just stand in the middle, slow people down, maybe there's a chance. I'm really, really curious to see how this top lane matchup shakes out. I don't know how this top bench is going to match up into the Ornn.
Yeah, I'm very, very tempted to pull my handy researching tool out and try to look up some stats of Kench v Ornn top lane, because I've never seen it.
Yeah, this is new for me. I'm also curious to know what the Tahm Kench provides for this team comp. I mean, the Caitlyn is going to be pretty safe, especially considering the Rakan will have to peel for the Kaisa. Are you going to be, I guess, Tahm Kench ulting the Diana into the backline?
And Kench's ult early doesn't do that much, but I'm sure that UCLA has some sort of plan.
I wonder if this is another strategy for getting in the Pepperdine jungle and shutting down wind chill. You can Tahm Kench ult from the top lane into the red buff and make that 1v1 Karthus versus Hecarim into a 2v1, guaranteeing the Karthus will always get pushed out. Hecarim, not the strongest early game jungler, but certainly not weak by any means. Karthus, relatively weak in the early game, very susceptible to counter ganks. If you can get that Kench to level 6 and get him and Hecarim into the topside jungle, maybe you just start denying wind chill again like they did last game.
Yeah, it seems that Kench does have the advantage when it comes to the top lane, looking at the stats here now. Definitely an aggressive pick.
I will say, if Pepperdine can stabilize, they will win the late game, I believe. The Ornn item upgrade on the Karthus and on the Yasuo and on the Kaisa, they are going to outscale. But they will not outscale until 30-35 minutes, so they've got to get there and not fall behind. I think protecting this Karthus is going to be so crucial to Pepperdine winning this game. If they can keep the Karthus alive, if they can keep him fed and not have his jungle denied over and over again like last game, starting at level 1, fan out, but fan out defensively, get down your vision, and then don't just leave the jungle and let UCLA do another late invade. You're going to have to protect that Karthus for at least the first buff, if not the second buff as well, just to make sure he doesn't get put behind.
Very, very true.
And UCLA's mid-game team fight is scary. Hecarim ult into Diana ult. Oof. Man,
I have to say,
these mid-game dragon fights are going to be wild.
Yeah, I have to say that I really like this adaptation from Pepperdine, because last game they realized that they bled out for a long time, right? So they made it that this game, that basically the longer they bleed, the stronger they become, and they just don't want to, have that even be a problem anymore. So we're loading into the game now, so we'll see.
My only concern with that win late game, win game is they don't have the same team fight tools in the mid game that help them win those one or two crucial team fights that push the game later. So if they lose those crucial mid game fights, they may never get the chance to scale. All right, level 1. Let's see what Pepperdine chooses to do. How are they going to protect this Karthus in the early invade stage? Looks like they're fanning out again.
It looks like both teams are kind of fanning out right now.
Yeah. Perhaps UCLA saying that our first level 1 cheese last game was just to get an early win. Now we're going to hang tight. Although, it looks like they're just getting some vision down. Okay, backing off. I don't know. This Diana's out there on her own. Little aggressive with the Diana there.
The Diana's very lucky that the Rakan wasn't there and didn't, have his W ready to go, because That would have been very, very dangerous.
Yeah, alright. I don't think we're going to see any delayed invades this game. Hecarim backs. Yeah, Hecarim's back to swap to Oracle Lens, and he's just going to go to his red buff at level 1. So Karthus will get his first buff at the very least with a leash.
Blue buff too, which is, you know, you can pretty much rely on Karthus starting blue. And
yeah,
you
I don't
can't
think the Karthus
discount
can clear the jungle without blue buff.
Yeah, but you can't discount that knowledge too, right? So of course UCLA knows that that's going to be where Karthus is at.
It does make me wonder why UCLA committed their invade and their ward to the top side, knowing Karthus is going to start blue. What's the value of that ward by the red buff? Are they thinking that they'll catch him on the buff to buff? It's going to time out before then. I'm very curious to know what their thought process was in that regard.
Maybe they were just trying to see if Pepperdine would try to do some sort of invade on their blue?
Yeah.
Late?
I mean, a good point brought up in the chat. Pepperdine has drafted 3 losing lanes. The Diana will push the Yasuo in. The Tahm Kench, according to your research, Ramsey, is a losing matchup to the Tahm Kench wins the matchup into the Ornn, and bot lane, obviously, Caitlyn pushes everybody in. So I don't know how, right now already you see it. Diana putting a ward on the Raptors, spotting out that Karthus. You know, this Karthus is going to be so susceptible with these lanes pushed in, and Hecarim, as soon as he gets 6, he can just live in Pepperdine's jungle. I am a little worried already. We see pings going down on the red buff and the Hecarim moving that way. Fortunately, it looks like Diana is going to be second on the roam, but already the Karthus being denied his red buff.
That definitely seems to be the strategy of UCLA, which is smart to be completely honest. We do have a little skirmish going down here in the mid lane.
Santo gonna die to the smite, and he's gone, but he does get the trade kill back. 1 for 1 in the mid lane, but the Diana will get a better back timing. We'll get to push this wave in. She won't stay for
and honestly, I don't think Hecarim minds dying for Yasuo's flash right now, especially since Diana did not have to burn anything.
Worried. Alright, let's take stock of where we're at. We've got the Karthus, although I will say, the one caveat to that dive on the Yasuo, yes, it puts Yasuo a little bit behind. Oh, we got to pause. During this pause, let's talk about the Karthus up 18 CS on the Hecarim. If Karthus can maintain this lead and stay ahead, hit level 6 first, maybe Pepperdine has the ability to defend it. It's going to be difficult. Again, 3 losing lanes. You're going to have to defend the Karthus, but he's already ahead a little bit. That's a plus. Now, in the bot lane, Caitlyn up 10 CS over the Kai'Sa at 3 minutes. It's to be expected. Caitlyn's going to have stronger push. She's going to have stronger 1v1 potential in the early game. And the Rakan, unfortunately, can't go as aggressive because the Kai'Sa just doesn't have that damage backup like the Ezreal does in the early parts of the game.
Yeah, I just really, I don't know about the Kai'Sa pick. It's one of Cody's go-tos. It's kind of a comfort pick. I wonder if, because Caitlyn is a big pick of his as well. So I wonder if, since the Caitlyn was chosen, since, you know, the Ashe was banned.
Now, you will see that Kai'Sa's taken Hail of Blades, which will give her a little bit more power in the laning phase. She won't be quite as strong in the end game, but as we've noted, it looks like Pepperdine will win the late game. So taking Hail of Blades, giving her a little bit more laning potential, probably the right decision here from Bobby Joe.
Already, though, we see Pepperdine, the laners are moving a lot more to make sure Karthus, like, gets these scuttles, protects him in his jungle. You can tell Pepperdine is saying, you know, we will not let Windchill be wronged again. You can already see with that, you know, CS difference. I will bet you that we will see a similar level of CS superiority by the end of the game, regardless of, you know, who wins and who loses from Windchill.
Yeah, my concern, though, is that this Yasuo is falling further and further behind and is losing lane priority. And if the Diana can hold this lane priority, it gives the Hecarim windows to get in there and bully the Karthus out of his jungle. Dragon coming up here in about 30 seconds. There's priority in the bot lane for Pepperdine, and they're backing. I would imagine the Kai'Sa will pick up a pickaxe and go into the Manamune. But we're seeing, again, mid lane priority for UCLA. And then, again, they're starting up the Dragon now. Bot lane for Pepperdine is back. So this Dragon is going to go over uncontested to UCLA. I've got to commend UCLA's Dragon priority. In both games, they've waited for the right time. They've gotten priority in the bot lane, and they've taken those first Dragons. It's to be expected, though. Karthus really doesn't come online until 6 and really until 11 when he gets some items and he gets that level 2 ult. So there's not a whole lot Pepperdine can do in the early game to contest those objectives. Diana hits 6. Yasuo's still level 5 and down 13 CS, so he has a wave to pick up. I wonder if we're going to see a roam out of the Diana now that she has ultimate.
Chat
really
makes
impactful
a fair point
ult.
About Hecarim getting the 300 bonus gold from First Blood, kind of making up that CS difference. I was more so talking about the fact that, you know, by this point of the game, Windchill was at like 13 CS last game, so it's more of a statement on his prioritization of what's it called, jungling, than last game. But
very true, very true. So we're kind of just in farm mode right now. Nothing crazy happening. The first objective is down. A little trading in the top side. Well, Karthus is bot lane, but Karthus' gank potential, not great. I don't know what he can do into a Caitlyn Braum. I mean, the Braum just throws up the Unbreakable and they walk away. I think these lanes are going to be pretty stalemated for now, which, to be fair, is in Pepperdine's favor. They did draft losing lanes, and if they can just go even, that's what they want to do. Now we see Hecarim in the top side. Here comes Hecarim, and nice dash away from the Ornn. The dive's going to come through, and Scoot survives. Well played. Timing that dash so he doesn't get interrupted by the Hecarim, very well played.
Scott knows his Ornn. If anyone's
Checking
interested.
back up. Checking back in on the Karthus. He's up 20 CS. He's been hard farming, approaching that point at which he can take over the game. Diana and Hecarim moving into the top side, trying to deny that red buff again. We'll see if they can get it. Karthus is back, and it looks like the Hecarim's going to take this red buff. I know that talking about
jungle, so maybe he'll discover the Hecarim, but probably not before it's too late.
Yeah, unfortunately, this pathing means that he's going to get denied the buff and the time it took to get there, and all he'll have is the scuttle or the Krugs to farm.
Mm-hmm.
With mid lane priority, I would expect to see UCLA transfer their advantage to this Herald. Yep, they're going to take the Rift Herald, likely take it into the top side and see if they can get this Kench out onto the map. Although, they may just try to continue pressuring the mid lane and free the Diana up to roam. I'm surprised we haven't seen a roam from the Diana. She's now level 8, hasn't ulted, hasn't roamed. You would think she'd go down into the bot lane and try to make something happen.
Waiting to see the Karthus kind of come online too. I mean, obviously he's not going to ult till there's a prime opportunity to do so, but he really needs to start getting those Dark Harvest stacks in.
Very much so. He is looking to scale, but without actually proccing those Dark Harvests, without getting, you know, some scaling under his belt. It's just delaying his late game inevitability. Oh, ult from the Braum in the bot lane. Little lockdown, and the Kai'Sa flashes away to safety. Just a summoner spell trade there. Here we go. Here's, yep, like I said, we're going to see the Rift Herald dropped in the mid lane. Knock down these. I think it'll get the whole Terror. Oh, Karthus flashes forward, ulting the Hecarim and gets him. What a play from Windchill. Yasuo ult, can they get the Diana? I don't think so. Ignite is used. Tahm Kench ults down, won't find anything.
Directed
It'll
can
give
failed
Scott
me.
a little bit of time in the top lane. Yeah, that's not a great first ult from the Tahm Kench. Doesn't really get anything. The Diana was out. Gives Scott some time in the top lane. Although, as we see bot lane, as this all went down, Kai'Sa and Rakan get pushed off, and another plate goes over to the Caitlyn. TP used mid lane just to get the Diana back in the lane to pick up this farm and continue to pressure the Yasuo. She's still up about 10 CS and has finished her proto belt to the Yasuo's Berserker Greaves.
Yeah, and there's a couple of control wards from UCLA that have been just kind of living in Pepperdine's topside jungle, kind of just uncontested, just chilling.
Again, surprises me given that UCLA has put so much priority on Dragon Vision in the last game. Now, Pepperdine getting to kind of sneak this dragon. This is a huge objective take for Karthus. Just kind of gets in there and sneaks that dragon, and I think it's the vision priority on the top side that gives Pepperdine that opportunity. Now, Cloud Soul. Hecarim loves Cloud Soul. He gets to press R and just run in there as fast as he can. So, huge win for UCLA if they can get their hands on this Cloud Soul and that Hecarim.
But by sneaking this Drake, Pepperdine has bought them time. Even if they give the next two Drakes, like, that's not Cloud Soul. So they've basically bought themselves an extra, what, 3 to 4 minutes a
Yasuo
game?
getting dove here, and he's gone.
You don't want to
Not
see
much
that,
you can
though.
do there. Hecarim ult under tower into Diana ult. It is what it is, folks. First tower going down in the mid lane. Not surprising, we saw the Rift Herald usage there. Santo continues to fall behind, almost 20 CS down now. Despite the great dragon take from Pepperdine, they're still down 2k gold. Really, it's a matter of stemming the bleeding and getting this Karthus and Kai'Sa into the late game. I still worry about teamfight execution, though. If that Hecarim gets good ults into the backline, it's going to be very difficult for Pepperdine to fight around these objectives and these choke points.
But the Karthus is 2 levels up on the Hecarim, does have that smite advantage going into some of these objective battles, and already is just having a performance that, you know, is so much better than the last game because he wasn't denied the way that UCLA denied the Zac the previous game.
Yep, absolutely. Very well done for Pepperdine to make sure that Windshield doesn't get shut down in the same way. And on a jungler that is prone to invade, so great adaptation from Pepperdine to secure that, or to secure not getting the disadvantage.
See a lane gank here from the pings go out. They know the Karthus is there.
Yeah, they know he's
saw
there.
him.
He'll just back. Taking stock, we've got Manamune built for the Kai'Sa. Big core item for her. She'll probably go into Rageblade following that. Caitlyn should have her Infinity Edge on this next back, which is a big spike for her, making those headshots really, really painful. Yasuo is onto his Zeal, still short of that Eye Edge, unfortunately. Although he may go straight into a Phantom Dancer here, being behind into a Diana. I'm not sure.
And we knew Pepperdine was in all losing lanes. As you can expect, all these lanes are behind in CS. But, you know, these CS differences aren't necessarily make or break differences.
Hecarim down here. He's going to ult on. Oh, good dodge from the Kai'Sa. And they're going to get out. Very well played. All it cost was the Rakan flash. Now
and they're going to see if they can get the Kench.
The Horn is blown. Kench dodges it. I think he's still dead. Yeah, it looks like he's just going to go down. Now the question is, do they donate this kill over to Scott or do they give it to the Karthus? I would expect them to give it up to the Karthus, get that scaling online. Very well played. Very well played.
There wasn't really anything that the Kench could really do. He flashed out, but there was no way that he was going to get away from both of them.
Agreed. And the Karthus
gets the blue buff.
Gets invaded in the blue buff.
He gets to steal his own blue buff now.
He's sticking around. No, he's not. He's gonna head out. Okay, is the Diana pinched? It looks like Karthus on one side, Rakan knock up. Stopwatch is burned.
Stopwatch, not Zonia's yet.
I can't think that's, and the donation over to the Kaiser, I can't think that's a very good usage of Stopwatch. I mean...
No. That's where you just run and bear it.
Yeah, that's...
Did she have ult? She could have YOLO ulted. No. I wouldn't have done that, but she could have.
I would have used the ult before using the stopwatch. I mean, the ult's on a minute-and-a-half long cooldown. The stopwatch, once you use it, it's gone. Now,
yeah, you can't really get anything out of it till you build Zhonya's.
She may have enough gold to build her Zhonya's soon and may have just decided it was worth using the stopwatch just in case. But I still can't say I love that decision. All right.
The thing is, Pepperdine are making these plays, but they're still behind on gold and turrets at this point.
Well, there's so much standing gold left for Pepperdine. I mean, this Caitlyn just knocks down turrets. Up 37 CS. See if I can toggle the gold. She's down. The Kai'Sa's down 1,200 gold to the Caitlyn. She's down almost a full BF sword to the Caitlyn. UCLA
but
gonna get
might be getting this Cloud Drake. It looks like UCLA are the ones that are kind of letting the Drakes go this game.
Yeah, I'm very surprised.
If Pepperdine can deny UCLA this Cloud Soul and get it for themselves, that will do wonders for their late game.
Yasuo is gonna
probably die here.
And here, Hecarim will committed, and the Hecarim picks him up.
The Hecarim will pick up the smite.
Unfortunately, just overstaying a little bit down there in the bot lane. Yasuo has finished his Phantom Dancer, going that defensive item, but it just doesn't help a whole lot into the Hecarim multi.
Yeah, there were no minions he could dash to either. If maybe there had been a wave in between, he could have tried to get through it and out, but yeah, he did just overstay there.
Yeah.
I've noticed this game,
vision, but...
Pepperdine is moving, I think, a bit more as of a unit this game than last.
Yeah, they're sticking together a little bit better, getting caught out less, aside from Sanso down there in the bot lane overstaying a little bit. They do have the kill lead, but they are still down almost 4k gold, which is... That gold lead's just kind of blossoming, and a lot of it is focused on this Caitlyn, who's just going to be such a mid-game powerhouse. If they can't get on the Caitlyn to CC her and she just gets to free fire from the back line, it's going to be dangerous.
Yeah, I really worry.
Here's the second Herald usage. Looks like they're going to get another tower in the mid lane.
Yeah, I really worry that Pepperdine is putting too much reliance on the late game here. But, you know, with this sort of comp, you can't really give too much to the late game, right? It's kind of your only game.
We said it in draft. Pepperdine will win the late game, but they've got to get there. And this Diana-Caitlyn combo with the Hecarim is just, it does so much damage. Now, they're going to find the Tahm Kench. He, in turn, overstays.
And again, that kill goes over to Windchill, so he's now on a 3-kill Karthus.
Yep.
0 deaths.
It looks like he's building into a Morellonomicon. Gonna make LS very unhappy. Not a ton of healing on the side of UCLA.
Yeah, I think that's a bit of an interesting build, but...
Oh, I see. Okay, he's gonna go for his death cap first. He just picked up the Oblivion Orb for the... Yeah, for the magic penetration.
Yeah, he wants to build that Rabadon's as fast as he can.
And get the Ornn item upgrade on it so it's even stronger.
I bet that, you know, he's Ornn's first order of business when he's 14, as long as he has that Rabadon's. And it looks like we're going to get our first proper team fight.
Here, Hecarim ult onto 2. Karthus is low. Is he going to go down? He will go down to the Diana.
Is he going to ult?
Doesn't catch anybody.
Oh, he already did.
Yep.
Doesn't look like he's going to get anyone out of it.
The Karthus ult. Oh, Yasuo ult onto the Diana. Can they get her? Swallowed up by the Tahm Kench.
UCLA is so low.
Down. Double kill for the Yasuo. Can they get more?
Are they going to try? It looks like they are. Rakan might W over.
Rakan gonna flash over? Nope.
Nope.
I thought the Rakan would flash that wall and knock up the Caitlyn. There's 150 gold bounty on the Caitlyn. If they can shut her down, that's money in the pockets, but it looks like just the team fight win, no objectives taken. Pepperdine might be able to pressure down this mid lane turret. That would be quite a boon for them to get their first turret of the game and get a little bit of money back. Uh-oh. Yasuo diving deep there. Looks like they're not going to get the mid tower. Perhaps they should have just gone for the tower instead of trying to dive for the kill on Caitlyn. Hard to say. Cloud Drake coming up in just a minute times here. You would expect UCLA to fight for this one with 4K gold lead. They've got item spikes, 2 items on the Caitlyn, Stone Built done on the Braum. Hecarim's got his jungle item and his Trinity Force. This is the mid-game power spike for UCLA. If they can win a big fight here, they can go Dragon into Baron and really kind of put the pain down onto Pepperdine. Inversely, if Pepperdine gets a good Yasuo and they get their 3rd Dragon, it really sets up their late game well. So this team fight's going to be very crucial for the remainder of the game.
Yeah, Pepperdine really does not want to give this Dragon or this fight over to UCLA.
The item advantage is squarely in the pocket of UCLA. I mean, 2 items on all the carries, a big tanky item on that Braum. He just gets to stand in the front line, throw the shield up. Uh-oh. No orange second recast. Diana gonna get finished off. Okay, can the orange survive? Yes, team fight win.
Are UCLA going to re-engage on this Dragon, or are they going to let Pepperdine have it?
I would expect the Hecarim to ult over... No, Hecarim ulted in that fight, so he doesn't have ult up.
It looks like they're going to try to maybe engage on them this way?
Interesting. They're trying to pincer Pepperdine here. Yasuo gets set up. Oh, and he goes down. That Caitlyn headshot.
That is not what Pepperdine needed.
That's not good. Caitlyn is just dishing out the damage. Double kill.
Kaisa does get the shutdown on to the Caitlyn.
Hecarim is going to find the Karthus, and it looks like UCLA is going to clean up this fight and get the Dragon on the after. Oof. It started out great for Pepperdine, but then they overcommitted, they took too much damage from the Dragon, and now the objective and the fight goes over to UCLA. Really well positioning from UCLA, coming in from both sides, Hecarim threatening from the top.
Pepperdine was split there.
And the Braum and the Caitlyn on the bottom side just getting to poke away at the Kaisa and the Yasuo. Great trap from the Caitlyn onto the Yasuo to get that pivotal headshot.
Yeah, definitely. It looked like the Rakan was definitely going up towards the Hecarim, and I think it was the Braum that was more towards the top side there. But then, of course, everybody else circled around the bottom, and Pepperdine was kind of divided on where they wanted to go, and it seems like they didn't really make a decision there.
Yep. Taking stock of where we're at, we've got a Rage Blade finished on the Kaisa. Manamune hasn't quite transformed yet. That'll be crucial for these team fights. Yeah, we're in that mid-game power spike for UCLA, and they have full run of the map with their gold lead. They've evened the Dragon score. It's going to be up to Pepperdine to kind of stem some of the bleeding here. They need to not get picked off. They need to maintain vision on the Baron so UCLA can't sneak it. Are they going for it? No, they're just clearing vision. Okay. But with all the lane priority in UCLA's favor, it's going to be hard for Pepperdine to get good vision down to contest objectives moving forward. We still have yet to see the Ornn upgrade another item. He's got 2 of his own items upgrade. I wonder if he's waiting for that death cap to be finished. Uh-oh! Rakan picked off in the jungle. And that's that vision control. UCLA just has so much control over the jungle. They're going to rotate into the Baron here. Without lane priority, Pepperdine can't get into the jungle to provide their own vision, and they're... Uh-oh. Diana's going to ult onto the Kaisa, and Caitlyn ult comes down, and the Kaisa is gone. This is going to secure the Baron for UCLA. And with this mid-game power spike, they're just going to get to push down mid lane, get an in-air tower, get an inhibitor, and start to really snowball this game away from Pepperdine.
Yeah, I mean... We're not objective here. We're both from Pepperdine. What can our boys do to win? Like, what's the win condition for Pepperdine here? Like, what will it take to come back?
It's gonna be a matter of getting good vision in the areas of their jungle that they can get vision in, so they don't get picked off trying to rotate between lanes. I'm curious to see if UCLA groups as 5 to push down the mid lane, or if they 1-3-1 with the Diana and the Tom Kench in the side lanes. I would imagine the Tom Kench goes to the side lane with the ability to ult into a fight. There's no reason for him to be grouped, and you can 4-1 with the Tom Kench in the top side. But it looks like Hecarim and Caitlyn in the bot lane. I'm not really sure why. Just pushing out the wave, I guess? Yeah. Curious lane allocation from UCLA. I don't know that I agree with it. They're going to get into the jungle to deny more resources from that Karthus.
Yeah, that vision is just...
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, all of Pepperdine's vision's in the top side, and UCLA recognizes it, hence why they go into the bot lane and push that bot lane tower in. So good, in fact, allocation of lane priority from UCLA, recognizing where Pepperdine's vision is and going to the opposite side of the map.
Yeah, will Pepperdine even try to... No, it doesn't look like they're even going to try to really protect this tower.
With that Baron buff and that Caitlyn having finished rapid fire cannon now, she just has the ability to get those headshots and those crits from so far away. There's not much Pepperdine can do. Manamune now transformed for Kaisa. She's going to have a little bit more teamfight prowess now with that item.
That Rabadon was just upgraded by Ornn.
There we go. Unfortunately, I don't know how many stacks the Karthus has on his Dark Harvest, but even with that death cap, I still worry that it's just not going to be enough. I mean,
Pepperdine down 10,000 gold, I doubt it's enough.
Yep, here we go. Dive onto the Yasuo. Can the Diana finish him off? Looks like she can. This might be game here from UCLA. I mean, they are in Pepperdine's base with the Baron buff, knocking down inhibitors. Double inhib taken. I don't know what this Karthus can do to stop them. I mean, the Tom Kench is unkillable with the
UCLA isn't going to risk it, but they got double inhib off that.
Yeah, they're just going to back reset. Dragon coming up in a minute. There's almost no way for Pepperdine to contest this dragon with their top inhib down. They're going to have to be cognizant of the super minions in the top lane and the mid lane.
And a potential backdoor. Yeah,
this should just be a free dragon for UCLA, and it's starting to, it has slipped away from Pepperdine. Unfortunately, they had stemmed the bleeding there for a little while, but this Caitlyn just popping off in these team fights, dealing so much damage with those headshots, and the Hecarim just diving in and providing so much CC and disruption for UCLA.
Yeah, we'll have to see, but it seems like now UCLA just needs to, ironically, just play slow, and they have it, because they just need to weather Pepperdine down. They were the team comp that we were thinking didn't want to get to this point, but now that they're here, they're well and comfortable.
Yeah, well, we said 35 minutes was kind of that key time for Pepperdine. We're 7 minutes away, and they're down almost 10k gold. They've down 3 dragons to 2, down a Baron. I mean, I don't know how they hold off this incredible team fight comp from UCLA.
Yeah, I forget that it's not really technically late game, because it feels so late in the game based on the way that the Rift looks right now.
Yeah. We see a siege here onto the bottom side. There's not much Pepperdine can do with super minions in the top side and the mid lane. Diana providing pressure in the mid lane.
Is
Pepperdine going to try to force onto the 3-man here? Keep in mind, the Tom Kench can ult at any point and bring that Diana with him. So, oh my gosh, half health from the headshot from the Caitlyn onto the Karthus.
Pepperdine runs, but I think this
into
is...
the back line, and this is it.
The Karthus goes down first. Yasuo ults onto the Diana, Karthus ulti, but it doesn't ultimately get anyone. The Tom Kench is in a tough spot.
Good knockup from Rakan, dies to the headshot. Can the Caitlyn go down? That's the
Yasuo
question.
tried to go in, but
another headshot, and
no one seemed to prioritize the Caitlyn.
Oh, and down goes the Kai'Sa. That was the big question. Oof. I think
everyone
that might be
was
game,
so
folks.
low, but Caitlyn just kept auto-attacking, you know, right click
that
to
rapid
win.
fire giving her so much range, and UCLA will take another 30-minute victory.
And that'll be it for this series. It's a best of 3, and UCLA won 2-0, which, you know, good on them, right?
Good adaptation from Pepperdine to keep UCLA out of their jungle, but UCLA transitions says we won't invade your jungle, we'll just beat you in the mid game, we'll just team fight around you, and you drafted scaling so you couldn't have that happen to you, and we picked the mid game comp and they just executed better. I mean, 7, 1, and 3 on the Caitlyn, just so much damage. Yeah. Well played from UCLA. Good adaptations from Pepperdine, but unfortunately just not quite up to the task today.
Yeah, let's break down that fight just a little bit more there at the end, because it really seemed like Pepperdine could have pulled that one out, but they just didn't. What exactly is it? Just that Caitlyn was not interfered with enough? Is that what happened?
Well, really what it was is the Kai'Sa was zoned off. You saw there at the end of the team fight, Kai'Sa came in almost full health, having not really dealt much damage in that last team fight, and just gets blown up by 2 Caitlyn headshots and the Hecarim. And unfortunately, when your primary carry is in the backline and can't get any damage down, she did shred the Tahm Kench. We saw her shred the Tahm Kench, and that was great. But he didn't die. He popped that gray health, walked back. The Caitlyn gets her headshot. And unfortunately, even though Santo Massey's Yasuo gets onto the Caitlyn, he doesn't get to ult her. She gets the 90 caliber net away and just pumps out that damage. And unfortunately, without, you know, if the Kai'Sa can ult onto the Caitlyn there and get the kill onto the Caitlyn, I think that fight goes completely different. I think she cleans up the Hecarim. I think she cleans up the Tahm Kench. She just wasn't able to get in there and get into the midst of the fight, and that's what we said. I mean, that Kai'Sa just doesn't have the same mobility as the Ezreal, and when the Hecarim's diving on top of you, when the Tahm Kench is standing in front of you, there's not much you can do as a Kai'Sa short of hoping someone can get a stack of your passive on the Caitlyn in the backline, and you can ult to the backline and try to 1v1 the Caitlyn. But at that point, she's down a full item and a half to the Caitlyn. I don't even think she can 1v1 the Caitlyn at that point.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's
like you
unfortunate.
were saying, like you said it's a late game comp, but you got to get to the late game. And, you know, someone said it in the chat, these are going to be good games for Pepperdine to review. So, you know, while we lost today, I'm not discouraged, because this isn't the end of our season, and we'll keep playing games and we'll keep improving and get going from there. I have every confidence in our team, and I think that, you know, this will be a good learning experience if nothing else. And I am just so happy when I see Pepperdine, like, even when we fall behind, just keep on pushing through. And you saw they were giving it all up until that last fight. And so, you know,
absolutely. And they found good fights. They found their windows. They just, unfortunately, just look like the communication and the team fight coordination just a little bit better from UCLA this time around.
Yeah, definitely. And yeah, I see in the chat people don't like that Yasuo pick. There's a bunch of different suggestions. I'm sure everyone on the team will be looking at these suggestions too in the VOD, and so, you know, we'll have to see in the future. And, you know, if you want to see if Pepperdine improves and takes your suggestions, you can tune in next time we stream our league games. Just a shameless plug there. We will be announcing on our social media and elsewhere when that will be, because sometimes we have to reschedule because games are happening during the week and our players have classes. So if you want to follow us on social media at Pep Esports, spelled P-E-P-P Esports, then you can make sure you stay up to date and know when we are going to be going live again. And of course, you can just give us a follow to support us anyway. So anything else you would like to say, Kyle, before we say
just thank you so much for everybody tuning in. Thank you, Ramsey, for allowing me to be a part of this and get my first cast under my belt. I had a lot of fun. Looking forward to the next one.
Yeah, and thank you for everyone who tuned in. We love you all. So
have a great evening.
Yeah, well, bye.